My name is John Puli Sumbiling. I report Chapter 3, Lesson 4, General Rules and Equipment in Processing Evidence. General Rules in the Collection and Preservation of Biological Materials. 1. Use protective gloves. A. Iwasan ang paggalaw sa individual traces. Tandaan, ang gloves ay makakadala ng dumi. B. Magpalit ng gloves pagkatapos asikasuhin ang isang materyales. C. Disposable lang dapat ang gamitin para sa preliminary test. At D. Cover surfaces where materials are placed with protective proper. Keep victims and suspects' clothes separates. Number 2. Avoid coughing and sneezing on evidence materials. Maaring magkaroon ito ng talsik ng laway at maaring mag-iba ang sample. Packaging of biological material. A. Gumamit ng paper packaging para sa biological materials o soiled with biological matter. B. Separate outer packages are to be used for trace evidence and for clothes from person involved. C. Do not mix materials, samples from different people, for example clothes, in the same parcel. D. Fold the opening of the bag twice and seal with tape. Envelope should also be sealed with tape. For special precaution. 4. Special precautions. A. Make an explicit note if a person from whom material has been collected is suspected of having infectious disease. B. Prevent contamination by avoiding all contact between collected evidence and clothes seized from people. C. Packages containing collected materials must not be opened until the examination in the laboratory is to be commenced. The only exception is when moist or wet materials must be dried out under normal room condition. Material for evidence, packaging, marking, and selling. Number 1. Acceptable packaging containers depending on the type of evidence. Number 1. Acceptable packaging containers depending on the type of evidence include A. Paper bags, B. Plastic bags, C. Boxes, D. Manila envelopes, E. Small glass, F. Metal cans, and 2. Acceptable seals. A. Tamper-proof evidence tape, B. Reinforced packaging tape, C. Heat seal. Three. Information in each package will be minimally include name of agency, agency case number, item number, date, investigators identifier. Pangalan ng agency, case number ng agency, item number, date, at investigators identifier. Four, additionary. Additionally, packaging of evidence will be include A. Asa natagpuan ang bagay by whom, kailan at anong oras natagpuan at description of item. Traditional methods of preserving or recording evidence. Photographs, audio and or videotape, microfilm, photostat, Xerox. Photography is considered to be the most practical, useful, and reliable means of preservation. Kamera ay available kahit saan dahil sa generasyon natin maaari nang gumamit ng phone. B. The object preserved is reduced in size in the picture proportionately with the other object adjacent or near to it. C. An unlimited number of copies can be reproduced, each of which identical to one another. 2. Sketching. Sketching, if no scientific apparatus to preserve evidence is available, then a rough drawing of the scene or object to preserve is done. It must be example, identifying significant items and the exact measurement, or see more in exact measurement. If walang ibang gamit ang maaaring makapagbibigay ng ebidensya, then a rough drawing of the scene or object must be done. Dapat simple at may exact na measurement ang pag-sketch. Observation and description. Description is done by putting into words the person or thing to be preserved. Describing and the thing requires keen observation and a good power of attention, perception, intelligence, and experience. It must cause a vivid expression on the mind of the reader. As a true picture of the thing described, the use of portrait parley may be used. Portrait parley, spoken picture, refers to verbal, accurate, and pictures description of the person identified. Such information may be given by witness, relatives, or the person who are acquainted with the physical features of the person to be identified. Cartographic sketch. A picture of the person to be identified may be drawn or sketched. Rugius Gallery. Photographic files of wanted or missing person for comparison with the cartographic sketch. Mannequin method. In a mannequin method. In a miniature model of a scene of a human body indicating marks of the various aspects of the things to be preserved, an anatomical model of statute may be used and injuries are indicated with their appropriate legend, although it may not indicate the full detail of the lesion. It is quite impressive to the viewer as to the nature and severity of the trauma. In a miniature model of a scene or of a human body indicating marks of various aspects of the things to be preserved, an anatomical model or statute may be used that injury are indicated with their appropriate legend. 5. Preservation in the mind of the witness. 6. Written notes. 7. Developing and lifting fingerprints found in the crime scene. 8. Gathering physical evidence. 9. Plaster cast. 10. Written statements of subjects and witnesses. Integrity of trace evidence. One of the primary paths of contamination is from the collector to the evidence. The collector must ensure that no contaminant is deposited with the evidence in question. Principle of chain of custody. The chain of custody is the most critical process of evidence documentation. It is must to assure the court of law that the evidence is authentic. It is the same evidence she said as the crime scene, and was at all times. In the custody of a person designated to handle it and for which this was never accounted. Chain of custody rule. It is a broken sequence of events that is caused by an effect of evidence from the time is found at the crime scene to the time it appears in court. The very link in this chain is documented from discovery at the crime scene, evidence gathering, storage, lab analysis, return to storage, transfer to court. Chain of custody due. The chain of custody proves the integrity of piece of evidence. A paper trail is maintained so that the person who had charge of the evidence at any given time can be known quickly and summoned to testify during the trial as and if required. A record of the chain of evidence must be maintained and established in the court whenever presenting evidence as an exhibit. That's all. Thank you.